I'd like to welcome Jaquann to the studio today. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
We really appreciate it.
No problem.
We got a lot of great information about you and how you grew up, and so we know that you grew up in the Nelton Court, one of Hartford's most challenging neighborhoods, as a child. Were you aware of the pilot of the urban condition? Did you think that you could transcend from your environment, so the challenges that you face, did you think you'd have the opportunity to get out of there?
Yeah, I think as a child I was aware of my surroundings, was aware of what was going on in the neighborhood. Just because my family, I know they've been in Elm Court years before I was born, so they didn't hide anything from me. They knew they lived in the neighborhood. They were from the neighborhood, and I mean, sad to say, my father was very active in the neighborhood and what was going on. So I was very aware. I think at a young age, I always thought I could get out because my mom always, not to say she was strict, but she always kept a
Close eye on you.
Kept a close eye on me. Didn't hide anything. Gave me the knowledge that I needed to live and survive. And I was the oldest of two, so I guess you could say I grew up fast because they didn't hide anything, and I saw everything, and I had siblings. So I was always just aware of everything and wanted to protect my siblings, and obviously wanted to do something different than what I saw.
Right. So what do you think was the biggest challenge you think getting out of where your childhood was?
I would say the biggest challenge was just, I guess you could say, just staying my course. Because I had a lot of friends that grew up the same way I did, whether their families were involved in what was going on in the neighborhood or not. And we all started, as kids, innocent kids, playing sports, having fun. But as they got older, a lot of things did start to change, and I saw that change. And a lot of my friends, sad to say, just kind of came a part of what was going on in the neighborhood. And I didn't at all. I stuck with going to school. I stuck with playing basketball and being dedicated to that, because I just knew that I had, I guess, a gift academically and I guess basketball wise, and a lot of people in the neighborhood saw that too. And I will say this, that a lot of older guys in the neighborhood, even friends, I guess you could say they kind of sheltered me and protected me. They didn't want me to do anything that was going on or stay out of everything that was going on. They wanted me to stay on the basketball court, and they obviously wanted me to go to school. So a lot of the older guys, they definitely encouraged me to stay on my course and supported me. Yeah, I don't exactly. They didn't let me do anything.
Right. So you say your mom was like a strong part of keeping you on course. Tell us about your mother. She's an amazing woman, according to Mr. Copeland.
Yeah.
How was she able to keep you on track? What did she do that other mothers need to do with their children?
Oh man, that's probably a question for her. But I guess I could say, like I said, my mom wasn't all innocent. Like, she lived in the neighborhood too, and she had her battles, her fights, and for lack of better words, did some wrongs. But I think as she got older and grew up, and she realized, obviously she's living for something bigger. Like I said, she didn't do anything crazy, but like I said, she was from the neighborhood and wasn't, But I don't know. She just I can't even explain it, because I don't know. She just always.
She was there for you.
Yeah, she was there. She supported me, and she did make some decisions. I will say she did make some as I grew up, because I'm just a kid, wanting to be with my friends. She did make some decisions that I think kept me on the right path, that I feel like a lot of my friends either didn't have the opportunity or their parents didn't do so. But I didn't go to school with all my friends come middle school. Because Because when I went to the school that I were going to, or all my friends in the neighborhood, I was getting a lot of trouble in school. That was like third, fourth, fifth
The
grade.
time that you're still learning. Like,
Right. So I'm getting suspended. I'm having fights. I'm doing stupid stuff in the neighborhood that doesn't make any sense. Kind of just being a follower
right.
for my friends
Yeah.
in the neighborhood, really. So I was getting in trouble. Again, I wasn't a bad kid, but I was just getting in trouble in school just because of fighting.
Just silly stuff.
Yeah. And I think my mom saw that, and I think once she knew, come middle school and especially high school, she didn't want me to kind of still go to school with my friends in the neighborhood. Not because that they were bad or she didn't like them. She grew up in that environment, so she kind of knew how to maneuver around it, to do something different that it wouldn't, so that this lifestyle doesn't affect me like it affected, her friends growing up in that neighborhood, and even her to an extent. So she got me into classical. I think I got it in by lottery, but I got into classical magnet. And like I said, while all my other friends went to probably Fox Middle School or something like that.
Right.
So she didn't bring me there for middle school. And I think that was like a huge turning point too, because I was kind of mad that I wasn't going to the school where all my friends were going to go, which is at that time I think Fox.
Right. It's important, I think, and also that you accept the advice of your mother.
Yeah, I didn't at that time.
But now you look back on it and you accept it.
I didn't at the time. I was like, why I can't go?
Right. No, it's hard. It's hard to understand that, and I think when magnet schools have been established and where they are at now, when I have students that come where all their friends are going somewhere else, they're definitely really upset. But then they make new friends.
Yeah, and that's what happened. I ended up making new friends.
You know, so like this is kind of like, I guess, reiterating what you've already said. Were you a good kid growing up? Was it easy for your mother to keep you in line? And how did she discipline you? So like you've already answered some of those. So I guess like when you did get into trouble, what kind of discipline did she have for you?
Just little punishment stuff. Like I said, whether I get suspended in school or not, all the teachers loved me. I was, I guess, a love kid in every school I went to. I just, like I said, I would just get in trouble from fighting or even outside the neighborhood doing stupid kid stuff, throwing rocks at cop cars and something like that. Like just little stuff like that. So I would be on punishment. I would stay home and that was probably it. Like I said, I never did anything outrageous because I saw the wrongs and a lot of stuff that we were doing, and I to a point, I guess I just didn't understand it. Why even I was just doing stuff to do it, especially as I got older.
That's for attention.
Yeah, and I realized, I guess, and I realized it's like, okay, this is like, I realized early that this is not the path I want to go down. Like I said, my dad died at an early age. My mom kind of didn't hide anything from me, but gave me knowledge, gave me everything. I had siblings, and I just kind of just knew it, that what I wanted to do very, very, very young. And like I said, basketball was my gift, and I just kind of tried to run with that.
So good to have that. So you just mentioned that your father died at a young age. So how did the death of your father affect you? And were there male role models that took his place?
So he died when I was 2, so I don't remember anything.
Okay.
So it didn't affect me until I realized that I didn't have a dad. And going to a school, again, a lot of my friends in the neighborhood didn't have fathers either. Some of them did, some of them didn't, whether they were dead or in jail. But going to another school, I'm realizing, a lot of these kids got both parents. I just think as I got older, it started to really just bother me because I would hear so many stories about my father, how everyone knew him, how big of a reputation he had in Hartford, in the Hartford area, and how popular he was. So it would kind of get me bothered to just hear that stuff. Like, oh man, I just wish I knew him.
Right.
Like how you guys knew him. It seemed like a great guy. I would just wanted to have a father. So it just affected me randomly, emotionally, because I didn't have one, and I always wanted one.
Right.
And now I got kids, so
Yeah.
it's kind of affect me in that way. But my mom definitely filled both roles, both shoes, and did a great job raising me. As far as male role models, I had a ton of males in my life, but I don't want to say they weren't great role models, but because there's still a couple of them are still currently in my life, but they were in the streets too. So it's like I hate to say it, but they weren't great role models, but they were
They were there.
They were there.
They were there.
No, at least when they were there, they were there. Obviously, they went. I think at least all three that I can name probably went to prison for a long extent of time, but they were there at my young age, and I mean now they're not in prison, and we kind of see each other now, who I consider my uncles and stuff like that. But like I said, they probably weren't great role models, but they were there
To be there
in my
for
life.
support.
Yeah.
In the best way that they can
Yeah,
be there for you.
right.
So, obviously you did well in college at one of Connecticut's top academic schools. You were a good student early in your life. How were you able to keep focused, and how did you balance basketball and your education? Two-part question.
Yeah, that was like I said, I give my mom a lot of credit for bringing me to class school, because that I got a whole new vision of life, meeting new friends, meeting new people, and at going to class school, meeting the friends that I had, they were all about getting good grades. Like they were competitive about it. Like I'm competitive about basketball. They were competitive about like, oh, you got a C? Ah, look at this, I got a B plus. So they were kind of, I hate to say it, they were kind of, if you got a C or a D, they were kind of make fun of you, a joke or something like that. So you don't want to be the one that's getting made fun of, versus probably at other schools, you get clowned for probably being smart,
Right.
or something like that, for having an A, or for actually going to class and being on time and doing your work. You probably get clowned for that in other schools. I don't. But that school, it was completely like, you get clowned for not getting good grades.
Yeah,
So I'm like, okay, like I'm not about to be here and be the stupid one.
Right,
So
right.
and that's all it boiled down to. Like, I feel like anybody can accomplish anything once you apply yourself. So before, I was probably my old schools, I didn't have bad grades, but I would just be lazy. I wouldn't do much. But I actually applied myself and put time out to apply myself in middle school and in high school. And for the lack of, it became easy once I applied myself, and once I realized like this is actually obviously a healthy environment, good environment. We're competing among grades, yeah, and I can do it. And I did have to get a tutor in like math and science, and my mom made sure I did do that when when she did see my grades drop and dip. If I had like a C or D in math or science, I had a tutor, and I had to probably miss practice or something like that to go be with a tutor. So my mom always, if she saw my grades dip in that way, she definitely always made sure to get me help.
That's nice.
Which did help out a ton.
Did you guys do tutoring in school or after school?
I actually saw when I had a tutor. I don't know, I forgot who she was, but I actually went to her house and I had like a private
nice.
tutor or something
That's
like that.
nice.
So I don't know how she got connected with it, but it was like
Convenient.
a private tutor, and I actually just went to her house, and with any of my math or science homework, she helped me and helped me learn how to. She helped me learn how to study.
It's important.
I didn't know how to study,
Right.
but my tutor helped me learn how to study, whether using flashcards, whether just reading more, or have different methods or tactics to learn to retain the information and to study. And that's one thing I did learn from that tutor, and I kind of applied it to even in college. I kind of applied it to just knowing how to study, and it's just about time, just applying your time.
It is. It's all about time management when it comes to
Yeah,
studying.
and I honestly could say that I'm not the smart. I feel like my sister is just a lot smarter than me, just naturally. But I think I did have to work extra hard to get good grades, versus some people it's probably a lot easier. But I'm a hard worker now, so I just worked hard and applied myself. It probably take me extra long to do my homework more than other people, but I was patient and I did it,
Yeah.
and it paid off.
It sure did. Like, I think learning those skills help you later on in life.
Yeah.
You know, like if you learn it in middle school and high school, it'll help you for college and for the
Yeah,
next levels,
yeah.
you know. So when did you start playing basketball, and was it something that you enjoyed right away, or did you have to like get into it first?
I started playing basketball at 7. I wasn't very good. Yeah, I gotta give credit to my mom. I was like, okay, like you're not about to sit in this house and play games all day. You know, she grew up in the neighborhood. She knew it was a little tough, but she like, go outside and be active. Like, so like you're good. So, and obviously I had a curfew. I had to be at a certain time, but she let me go outside, be in the neighborhood, be in Nelson Court, be at the Parker Memorial Center. That's by Nelson Court. So she just told me to go outside, and I just honestly that's the only thing we had outside was the basketball court.
Right.
So that's the only thing that naturally I picked up on because it was just right there in Nelson Court, and even with the Memorial Center, Parker Memorial Center at the time, it was just. I mean, it had all that little activities, but it was basketball hoop inside there too. So it's just something that all of us did in the neighborhood,
to keep
and that I saw. And it was a summer league going on every single year where I originally started playing. Sean Bell, we call him Smooth, but he started the summer league, the basketball summer league in Nelson Court probably long before I was born, and I just kind of started in that basketball summer league. It's called the NCBL.
Is it still going on now?
It is still going on now.
Oh, okay, so it picks up in the summertime?
Yep.
And do people have to apply to get into it, or you can
You just go.
sign
You just kind of just go and sign up. He's been doing that in the community for probably over 20 years, probably.
Nice, awesome.
And that's kind of where I started.
And so you did that every summer, and then once you got to Classical, did you play at Classical? Did they have a team?
Yep, they had a team. Yeah. So yeah, and I just picked up on it from. There was a lot of good guys that played in that league. Like I said, it was guys that I saw growing up that could have definitely played professional basketball, definitely Division I level talent that played in those summer leagues, and I saw it and watched it and and just kind of picked it up from them. Older guys in the neighborhood, even guys from other neighborhoods, would come and play because it was just such a big thing outside in the community, and I kind of just got better from watching them and playing against them, and things like that. So that just kind of really
help mold your
career.
Just
seeing all those guys. Yep.
So did you have dreams of getting a scholarship and playing basketball in the NBA?
Yeah, I did. So I think that's what part of the thing that kept me level. Like my mom always told me, if you want to do this, if you think you want to play in the NBA, you got to go to college, which means you got to have good grades.
Right.
Because if you don't have good grades, you ain't gonna get into college.
Absolutely.
So he told me that from a young age. So I always thought like, okay, I gotta apply myself because I don't want nothing to block me from me getting to my dream or my goal. So I have to really apply myself. And my mom told me that. And I also saw what not having grades can do to a basketball career. There was a lot of people in my neighborhood that didn't have grades. They were great basketball players. They didn't have the right attitude, and they didn't have the grades, so they didn't even end up going to school. Or if they did go to school, they weren't able to finish school because they couldn't keep up with the demand of college and the level of work that they were given. And that kind of, I think that messed up a lot of people that I know basketball career. And these happened to older guys that I saw. So I'm like, oh. I learned from experience. So if I see it, and that happened to you, okay, I'm not about to go do that same thing. Right. It's like the same thing in the neighborhood. If I see, this is how I took it. All right, if I see you selling drugs or something, doing that, and you're going to jail for it, I don't want to go to jail. I'm not about to do that. Right. So I just saw and learned from my environment and just knew I didn't want to go down those paths. I'm not about to. It's just common sense to me. Like if you messed up there, I'm not about to mess up that same way.
Everybody sees
I see it that way. It's like, okay, if you messed up, okay, you did that and you did it and that happened to you, okay, I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna go the other way and not go down that same path or not mess up that same way.
Right.
So to me it's like I can't let grades be the downfall.
Because it's the easiest part.
It is. And I think there's a lot of old school players probably that didn't have great grades. I'm gonna just say Allen Iverson, for example. I don't know. Matter of fact, I don't even know how his grades. I can't even say that. But I know he had a lot of challenges, a lot to overcome. But he was just so good in basketball that his coach saved him and got him out of the situation. He was able to get a second chance in a lot of this stuff because he was so good at basketball. And I'm not sure if that's what a lot of people from our neighborhood kind of just saw. Like, I could just be good at basketball. And I'm gonna be able to go, but I don't feel like that applies today. A lot of those coaches, they did go the extra mile, and probably go to the hoods or whatever you want to call it, these neighborhoods to get a lot of talent-wise kids. But that's not how it's going now. You gotta have the grades, you gotta have the talent, the attitude. You gotta have the attitude. You gotta have the grades.
Right.
And grades help getting you get into any school that you want in the country. So
And you can get a full ride.
and you can get a full ride off grades. So that's one thing I hope these a lot of kids get, that it's not just about basketball. Like, you have to have the education. You have to have the grades, because you don't want to close the door on so many other scholarships that you can potentially get. Because if you don't have the grades, you'll get, let's say you just get these two, even if you're good in basketball, you just get these two scholarships, because these are probably the only two schools that could work with your grades and your eligibility, and you probably got to do extra classes or something like that and maintain a certain GPA, but we could get you through. Versus if you have the grades, like, okay, now instead of just these two schools working with you, now you got 10 that can take you in, no matter the academic level, because they know you're capable of also doing the work. And like I said, you'll get more scholarship just by having a certain GPA.
Right.
You'll get more basketball scholarship just by having a certain level of GPA, like I said. But
yeah, I think it's like easier said than done.
It is.
You can say all these things, and because as an educator, I feel like I repeat myself every single day.
Yeah.
And it goes right in one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that special key is to get that to be turned. You got it. You got the mentality for it. So it's good that you have that. So you went on to become probably one of the best basketball players to play at Classical Magnet School. What made your mom decide Classical, for all the different magnet schools, and what made that school special?
I might have applied to all of them that were around that time.
Okay.
I think Classical was probably the first one that accepted me, because I got in by a lottery.
Right, yeah, because you have to do 5, so you're number one choice. The way the magnet school works, if you put Classical as your number one, you live in Hartford, you will most likely get into your number one choice.
Okay.
If not, you get into your second choice.
Okay, so yeah, Classical would probably, like I said, I think was the one that just accepted me.
Right.
When she applied, I don't even know. I don't even know the process.
Yeah.
that's her question.
I want to go there because of the basketball program.
No.
She
She was
sometimes
just
there's coaches that
she was. My mom was not thinking about no sports.
She was thinking about
education
so
and the best fit to get me out a little bit outside of the neighborhood, a little bit, and not going to the same schools that all my friends were going to, and even at the school that she went to.
Right.
Especially with I think magnet schools are the newest thing at that time, which was 2006 or something like that.
Yeah, so Chef versus
2006.
No, actually, it was in so the original program was called Project Concern. So that was trying to gravitate kids from the projects, which is a horrible name that they named it,
right,
and put them into suburban schools. So
right.
That was the first program, and then Chef versus O'Neill. This was the governor back in the 90s.
Okay.
And then they started the magnet school. So there was little each year, one school.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that. I did a paper on it for my
yeah, because I know in 26 when I went there in Classical, that was the first year of the building, but I don't think that was the first year of the school. The school was out of they were in another location.
Yeah, wherever they can get locations like this school that you're in right now. It was open 11 years ago. 12 years ago, and it was in a grocery store to start off with. And then came over here,
right.
5 years into it being
right.
So
that's how Classical was at, and I got in, and it's
good that you went there.
Yeah, no, I learned a lot. Like I said, I was just used to things being one way.
Right.
So I learned a lot. It helped me prepare a little bit for Trinity, and that was a learning experience in myself. I mean, in itself, just because of the background dynamic.
Oh, absolutely.
Of a lot of the kids.
It's a variety of
there is.
So you had a coach, Reggie Tucker.
Yep.
What made him a good coach?
Honestly, he was probably my first positive male role model in my life. I hate to say positive because I love my other role models that I still have, but in a different way. But just seeing a black male do something different, be a teacher. He's probably my first black male teacher too. To be honest, he started off as my teacher first in 6th grade, my history teacher, before he was my coach. So like I said, just watching him, how he carried himself, his beliefs, how he taught, everything. It was just Like he became a role model. Just again, I think at first, just as a man, before a coach, and as a mentor, and I just, like I said, I just saw it. I just saw how he carried himself, and I just this is positive. This is good. And like I said, I always tell him now. I'm like he's been like, I've been with him since 6th grade, so he's like a father to me. I always tell him. And obviously in high school he became my coach, and and what made him a good coach, he, like I said, just how he carried himself. He had an expectation for all of his players, and wanted us to carry ourselves a certain way. Like, we all had to tuck our shirts, and we all hated it. We all hated it. But he made us tuck our uniform shirts and and how to have a belt. I ain't had no belts then, but he made us have it. Yeah. He probably gave me his belt. Right, but he gave me a belt. I had to have a belt. I had to have my shirts tucked in all throughout the season and stuff like that. But like I said, we hated it, but he just wanted us to carry ourselves like that instead of baggy jeans and the pants probably sagging and got long big shit. At that time we had big. I can't even wear 2X now, but I probably had like a 2X at that time with the sleeves down here. And I don't even wear 2X right now. But at that time, my shirts were probably huge. And my pants were probably baggy.
Do you think, like, doing that, like, when we used to wear uniforms here, asking kids to tuck their shirt in was, like, the end of the world?
Yeah.
Like, you're like, okay, I get what he did. But do you think that helped you to, like, the way that you carry yourself now?
Yeah, it does, because obviously when I went to Trinity, when I'm going to job interviews, when I'm working had an internship at the state capitol building, I had to tuck my shirt in. Well, I could say I didn't have to, but it was just professional. It was professional. You want to look good. You want to, you want to present yourself in the best way. So yeah, I wore a shirt and tie. I tucked my shirt in, and I understood where he was coming from. He always told us that you want to present yourself in the best way. First impressions are everything. So, and that, and he came to school that way every day, dressed, shirt tucked. Sometimes he have ties, sometimes he wouldn't, but he would always
be presentable.
He would always be dressed nice too. He dressed nice too.
Right. And don't you you looked at him in a way like, I want to be like that. Like, I want.
Yeah, and I never seen that before. Right. Really, like I said, I never seen that before. So it was like, okay, I see what he's talking. It don't matter where you're from. Like, you could be from anywhere, but at least if you're talking professionalism, you want to look the part. You want to dress the standard, not just have this. I'm trying to find the right word.
Like I don't know, not like charisma, but being professional and carrying yourself that way gives off that, like, positivity.
Yes.
That way that, like, you want to be professional, you're going to be professional.
Right.
Because of the way that you're dressed on the outside and inside.
Right. Yeah. So that's a good way of putting it. Yeah. So it made sense, and it definitely like I said, I've been to plenty of interviews. I think every interview I went to in college, after college, I think I left a great impression, because person was like, oh, that was really good. That was that was a great interview, and I've gotten every job that I've ever been to off my interviews.
Right.
So
that's amazing. I think Deion Sanders, I think that he's, like, coaching the college team now, and that's his, like, major part about kids. They always have to be professional when they go to games. He put their name on their jerseys because he wants them to stand for, like, who they are.
Right.
And so, like, all those small things, like, I think bring all the ability of being a really great coach.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and he held us to a standard, and we had to meet it, and if we didn't, there'd be consequences. So. Did you guys have to run? Yeah. So I think just having that discipline helps.
Yeah.
A ton.
So how can we produce more student athletes from the inner city to finish college? Like, what do you think that you would give advice? Like, this is what we need to do to have more athletes in the inner city.
Can you repeat? What do we need?
So what do we need to do to produce more student athletes from the inner city to finish college?
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question. I guess just having, and which I think there's been a growing community of it, what I've been seeing, just having more positive black women and men in those communities. Um, and I feel like that has been happening recently. I could name a ton of people that's been a good uh, positive and consistent presence in the communities that's promoting education, that's promoting work ethic through via sport and teamwork via sport. So just continuing to do that part. I think just keep that growing because there's so many kids in these communities, but versus like if there's one person, they can touch a certain amount of people. Absolutely. Right? Yeah. But there's probably going to be another group of amount of people based on geographic area. Right. That's probably not going to get a dose of that guy. Right. Because could be because they don't know that guy, could be because he's in this area too far, or maybe I don't want to go in that neighborhood or community because that's not my neighborhood or community. Right. So then having another guy in this community, in that area, doing kind of something similar and the same, then now that group of kids or group of community will gravitate to that guy. And then, like I said, the more we have all of these guys doing these great things, they'll be able to reach more kids and more people. Because, like I said, a lot of kids, they're not going to go to certain places. Even if they're not, you don't have to be into anything. Like, I wasn't into any type of trouble, but I knew just being in this area, I'm not about to go over there. Right. So there could be some guy doing something really great over there. I'm probably not going to go over there to get that or see that. So just having those guys spread out. Right. It's mentorship. So like you got mentored, maybe you're going to go back and do some mentoring. Yeah. So you have like the baseline of having that mentorship in various pockets. And then those people get older, so like it has to keep like rotating. Yeah, chain reaction. Like, that's important for you to say like that. Reggie was a positive role model, and you still talk to him to this day. Yep. So like obviously he had a huge impact. He does. Yeah, he does. He did. So let's see. Tell us about your. Oh, we already talked about this, so this is we don't have to worry about that. So you did well academically at Trinity. What made you... I graduated. What made you start training as a student athlete, and what was the name of the program? Was there a program that was separate from Trinity? That you... Because it was basketball. When I started training? Yeah. When I started basketball training? Yeah. No, I played basketball at Trinity. Mm-hmm. I didn't start training until after I graduated. Oh, okay. What are some of the services so now we're moving on to like your organization. Okay. Okay, because I think you might have forgot a couple words. So right now, tell us what you do. Right now I do a bunch of different things, but for the most part, I'm a basketball trainer. Okay. So I have 2 gym locations. Our first location opened in 2019. Our second one opened 2021. And right in the middle of the pandemic. Yeah. Right. So I do that. I mean, I've been doing that full time. It didn't always start like that. I started training a year out of college. I graduated college in 2016. I started training in 2017 at the YMCA in Hartford on Albany Avenue, where I was working. And I kind of I had hopes of still going overseas. So I was kind of, with working, I had access to the gym. So I was kind of just training and working out myself. Recording it, putting it on social media. Social media is everything. And I think from there, parents started contacting me, asking me to work out their kids. Again, because I have a very popular name in high school and popular because of what I did in college. So I kind of just started working with probably like 2 or 3 kids at a time. And again, socially promoting it. And it kind of just grew from there in the YMCA at first. So you were where were you training them? At the YMCA. And they allowed you to do that? Yeah, so like I said, my Glenn Malden, who was the I want to call him athletic director, but yeah, he ran the sports programs at the YMCA. He was my boss at that time. So I kind of went to him, obviously when the first parent reached out to me, like, hey, they want to kind of train, and I'm, is it okay if I do that? At that time, I wasn't charging anything. Right. I just kind of just told them to come work them out, but they wanted to start coming consistently. So once I realized I got more kids that want to work out with me, and they want to do it consistently, I actually went to Glenn, and they're like, hey, could I start a training program with the YMCA? And we kind of just made that happen, and it just once I made the program official within the YMCA, it kind of snowballed and got really, really big kind of fast.
That's awesome.
And then yeah, so I started training YMCA, got some gym time at Trinity, so I'm back and forth between both, and I just kind of made it a business.
Yeah, and now you have the business in Manchester.
Yep.
And where's the other location?
And Milford.
In Milford. So my daughter was a part of the program, but she plays 3 sports, so it's like tough during first year of track. But she loved it. It's a great program. Tell us the name.
It's Revolution Basketball Training.
Okay, and so people can sign up online. It's super easy. So I'll give you how easy it is. You just go online and fill out like a simple form, and then you're in. You don't even have to, as a parent, this is the most convenient part.
Yeah.
You don't even need to go inside. Like your kid just goes in and they train, and then they come out. You're done. You can sit in the parking lot. I sit in the parking lot. Go to like the mall, can run some errands, and so it's super convenient. I love that it's like mixture, but you can also do like one-on-one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So if you wanted to do group training, you could do group training. But if you want to do one-on-one, you can sign up for like different hours to work with you and other people at the gym.
Yep.
Okay, so what are the age levels?
We have programs from every age level. So from K through 4th grade is one program, from 5th to 8th is another program, and then from 9th to 12th is another program. As far as the group training goes, for personal training, it's up to the trainer. Some trainers have kids that are doing personal training at 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade. Myself, because I have so many older kids, I normally start them at 5th grade, 5th to 6th grade. Anyone younger than that, I normally let our other trainers take the younger kids.
Okay, yeah. So you went from playing basketball to working at the Y to starting this training program.
Yeah.
Did you picture yourself like going into something like this, or did it kind of just like fall into your lap?
It fell into my lap because I didn't know I wanted to do it until probably that first parent kind of contacted me and asked. I was working a ton. I was refereeing. I was working at the YMCA.
Just hustling.
I was working in the school system, at St. Joseph, what is it called, the Ganger Center. I was working there. Then eventually I was working at East Hartford Middle School as a behavior manager. So I was doing a bunch of different stuff. And then, like I said, once that fell into my lap, I'm like, I could do this. I should train. I should start doing that. And I think people received it greatly. And it just, like I said, once I seen it rocking and snowballing and coming big, I'm like, wow, I could do this full time. I think.
Yeah. And the power of social media, the way that I found out about it was from social media.
Right.
So, it's important you built your model.
Yeah.
You also have to advertise, and it's easier for you to do your own advertising. I mean, we all know, like, people that have already started their businesses just solely off of social media.
Right.
So it's important that you do something you love.
Right, and I think that's what made it easy and simple, that it was just something that was so natural to me, something I knew, and it was perfect.
Yeah, so hopefully you'll have more locations open.
Yeah, yep.
Where it is. So what are some steps to become a personal trainer, and why was that so important to you once you did your personal training?
I guess I'm still in this process too of learning. But the steps that I took, at first I was just doing everything that I knew from what my coaches have done with me, from what I found to be successful come the game time that I found success in. So as far as training my kids and giving them the knowledge, I was just doing it solely based off what I've done and what my coaches have given me. I think where I've kind of advanced, become a better personal trainer, was going to Michigan and actually studying from an NBA trainer. So I'm constantly learning from other trainers. So one of my mentors in the training business is, I don't know if you guys know him, is Michael Lancaster, who's he's a trainer. He's from Michigan. He trains NBA player. He trained Kyrie Irving. He trained Victor Oladipo. I think he's worked with Kobe Bryant probably once or twice at a camp. So he's very famous and popular trainer, and he's one of my mentors. So I think I've been out to Michigan like 3 times, and kind of just learn from him. So see how he trains, see how he talks, see how he receives each and every player, and explains stuff to each and every player. And that's kind of what our gym and our trainers and myself kind of adapt our philosophy from. It's from him, and obviously is others, but mainly Michael Lancaster. And that's where I've kind of just grown as a trainer. Even with speaking, I was quiet. So I would talk, but I wouldn't be able to explain greatly until, again, I started experiencing how he trains other people. So it's constant learning, and I'm still doing it now.
Education is always ever learning.
Yeah.
You have to do professional development, or you're never going to be able to do better. You know?
Right.
So it's the way you motivate yourself too, to be able to like open up those other locations.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that was our last question. Thank you so much for
No
coming
problem.
in. Tell us how to get to, what's the website so that
revolutionbasketballtraining.com. That's our website. You can find literally all our programs there, from camps to clinics to open houses, and also personal training. You could train with myself or either of our other 4 trainers at either location, Manchester, Connecticut, or Milford, Connecticut. And or obviously you guys on social media. I'm Jaquann Starks on every social media outlet, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, even TikTok.
Yeah, that's where we saw it. It was on TikTok.
Yeah, even TikTok. Jaquann Starks everywhere. So if you guys are on those platforms, you could definitely find how to sign up with training or find our program on those social media outlets besides the website.
Yes. All right, Jaquann, thank you so much for coming.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, you're welcome.